We hear the angel of the Lord in the Gospel tonight saying, do not be afraid. But we're used to that. Those of us that listen to these stories pretty regularly, we are used to the angel saying, do not be afraid. And one of the things that, if we listen to the continuation of that sentence, we hear, do not be afraid, because I am bringing you good news of great joy. It doesn't say I'm bringing Mary good news of great joy, although he is, right? Although she may have had times when she wondered if it was such a blessing. But he said, I'm bringing you good news of great joy. Each and every one of us, we continue to be hearing these words all these years later. Over and over again, we hear the story of Mary and Joseph and the baby. But before we even get there, I'd like us to think for a minute, who is it that got the message first? The angel didn't go to the kings or the priests, those dressed like me, although they weren't women at that time. The shepherds were kind of out in the fields, out on the edges, out on the side. They weren't always considered the most reputable people. They were taking care of their sheep. They were out watching the stars. They were noticing the world around them. And as they were noticing the world around them and caring for their sheep, the angel came. And they heard the angel. Maybe there are times when we could have heard things, but perhaps we were too busy. Or perhaps we were running around. I know no one has probably done that in the last couple of weeks. Perhaps we were thinking about other things, but God came to the shepherds. Not the most elite or the most educated, but the most well-respected. And they were out there, don't be afraid, because I'm even coming for you. God is coming. Don't be afraid. God is even coming for you. No matter who you are, no matter where you came from, no matter what your story is, no matter who you are, God is coming for you, to love you, to bring light and love and hope to you this year. That is what we remember this night. When we have all these lights, and we have our familiar carols, and we have our familiar traditions, but we are remembering at the very essence of all is that within each one of us is that light. Something caused you to come out on this very cold night, to come to this very beautiful church, I must say. You dressed up very nicely this evening. To come out on this night. But out to listen. How is it that we can remember that light is alive with us? Because it's all of our stories. Every single one of us has a story. That's one of the wonderful ways the gospel keeps being written over and over again. It's one of the ways it's not boring, because it's still us. In each one of these windows, you see a nativity. If you're here at 11 o'clock at night, you know what a nativity is. But it is something special to us. And here in this church this year, we decided to invite people to bring ones that were important to them. Maybe ones that they'd like to share, ones that maybe somebody had given to them along the way. But here in the gospel, you'll see a son. We have one in one of these windows where Deb Rice, who is a member of our congregation, she ushered at 5 o'clock, her mom made it. And she can tell you where she sat in the congregation, her mom, I mean. And she can tell you when she made it. And she would tell you that for you, it might not be the most precious treasure in one of these windows. But to her, tonight, when her daughter walked in, she's like, where's mine? And then she found her. We have another one, Kai Walterby, who many of you know. She loves Guatemala and has spent so much of her life trying to help the people of that place. And so there's one here that she got there that speaks to her. You might say, well, that's a really nice one, but it doesn't really connect with your heart. It connects with all these guys' knows, and I bet when Mary sees it, it connects with Mary, because Mary's been through it. We all have a story. We all have that life, that way that God connects with us, and it's different for all of us. We have one in the back that Bill made. It's all wood, and Bill made it all by himself. I'm assuming I'm going to give him credit. They made it all by himself. We all have a story. Each one of our lives are important. There are signs that we have, things that we connect with that are important for us. And tonight is the night when we remember that story. We remember the story of God coming to the shepherds that were kind of these people kind of on the outsides. You know, maybe we're progressive enough Christians so that if they came in, we'd welcome them, but we'd wonder. That's who God came to. Those people we wonder. And we hear Mary who said yes. And Joseph who's thought, my God, what am I getting into? But he said yes too. Like we say yes sometimes. And we wonder, oh my God, what am I getting into? And yet, God says, don't be afraid. I'm with you, even when you're not sure. And so what does that mean? Does it always mean it's going to be happy, clappy, I love Jesus? If it is for you, yay. But for many of us, it is a life of faith where sometimes it is maybe we can have days when we feel content, right? When we look around and it just feels good. I think those are the most blissful days. Some days we see little things that happen and we imagine that's God thing. We had a parishioner that was on the plane on Thursday in the midst of the storm and thundering, and I could just hear it outside my nice little house. And I all of a sudden thought of Sarah, and I texted her and I said, did you make it home? She said, we just finished. Now, she's like, that's such a God thing. And it's like, I don't know what it was, but it felt like it, right? Maybe it's just those little moments in time where you know you're connected to something larger than yourself. And then there are those times when you go through things. Maybe you're struggling with some illness or something that just doesn't seem to want to give up. And maybe the moments of grace aren't, geez, I'm just having a blast. Maybe the moments of grace are when you find out that people are around you, people love you, who reaches out to you, who sends you a card, something silly. If you lost someone this year that you love, and you realize I had that experience this year, and I got so many cards, it shocked me. Not because I think little of myself, but because, my goodness, how gracious, how thoughtful. That's the light that we're holding on to tonight. That's the night that we're remembering that God is with us all the time. In all these stories, and whatever brought you out tonight, may you remember that the light of Christ came through you. It came to the shepherds, not just to Mary and Joseph, and not just to the street, but to each one of you. And leave us this night with this Christmas prayer that's anonymous, so I can't really give anybody credit for it. But I ask us to really pray about and maybe give thanks and remember that this light of Christ came to us. If we're in a time where we're feeling like it's dark and we're alone, you're not alone. You're not alone. If you're having a time when you feel really content and it feels just right, That's blessing. We give thanks to God. And if you're having a time when you're not really sure, we're St. Thomas. Thomas the Tanner, you're in good news. But if you're wondering, it's okay. Gift-giving God of angels and stars, magi and shepherds, promise and hope, journeys and longing. God who calls and sends, blesses and guards, hides and reveals, asks and waits, ancient love that is always, always with. God of Christmas, God of hearts, may we bear the Christ to all who need him and allow his birth, and to allow his birth be in us again and again.